Hey game designers, in this video I'm going to show you guys how to change the main character using a bunch of animation sheets. So let's go ahead and open all of these files here in a new tab, and we're going to download them. So once you open them in a new tab, you should be able to click the download button up on the upper right. I'm going to go ahead and download that one, and download that one. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and open up our Unity scene here. And you can pick any scene. It doesn't necessarily have to be this scene or any particular one here. And let's go ahead and import our assets. So we're going to go into My Assets folder. We're going to create an empty folder here. And we're going to call it My Character Sprites. We're going to go ahead and open the Character Sprites folder. We're going to right click and import new asset. We're going to go ahead and click all of our sheets and import them. Once we import them, we're going to go ahead and change the settings because these are all sheets and we're going to end up slicing them. So I'm going to go and go here, and we're going to go to multiple, and then we're going to go 64. And then we're going to go ahead and do some quality things here to adjust the quality. I'm going to go with point filter and none compression. I'm going to go ahead and apply. Then we're going to go to Sprite Editor, and we're going to go ahead and slice. Now remember that when you slice a character sprite, you definitely want to change the pivot to bottom center or bottom, and then go to cell size and slice so that we make sure that the pivot is going to use the bottom. Let's go and hit apply. You can see right here that each piece has a bottom center pivot, which will be helpful for us. Let's go and go to the second sheet. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Multiple, 64, no filters, no compression. Point filter, no compression. Let's go ahead and apply. Go to the Sprite Editor. Again, we're going to slice by cell size, make the pivot the bottom, and then we're going to hit apply. And the last one, again, we're going to go with multiple, 64, and we're going to go ahead and use a point filter and no compression. We're going to go ahead and hit the Sprite Editor. Okay, now if you're looking at the sprite sheet, let's go ahead and do our normal slicing here. But what I want you to notice is that when we slice it using cell count, you can see here that it leaves extra on the bottom. And this is going to be a problem for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually use the trim tool. So let's hopefully see if it lets us trim here. So let's go ahead and change our cell size maybe. Let's go ahead and see if we can trim it so that it goes to the bottom of our feet. Let's maybe try 40 here. Okay, 40 is too low. Let's go ahead and go to 50. 50 is a little bit too much. Let's go 45. Let's go 48. Okay, so you can see here now that when I slice it using 48, our cell size is going to be a little bit short, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to adjust it to the lower right, and hopefully this will be able to be imported correctly. Let's go ahead and apply. Let's go ahead and close our animation sheets. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some animations. Now you can't create animations on just sheets alone. You have to give it to an object. So we're just going to create an empty object here. And we're just going to create an empty prefab. And we're actually not going to use this prefab, but we're going to go ahead and create one anyway. So we're going to create a prefab here, and we're going to call it My Female Hero. And we're going to go ahead and open the prefab mode and just add these two components that we need to create animations, the sprite render and the animator. Okay, once you add in a sprite render and an animator, it's going to allow you to hit create and create animations for this. So we're going to go ahead and hit create. The first animation we're going to call walk north. Let's go ahead and be specific. Let's go female, walk north. And let's go ahead and create, or go ahead and look at our sprite sheet here. We're going to use these walk back ones. And you can see here that it's her back. I'm going to go ahead and drag all of these into here. And now we can actually hit play, and you can see the character walk back. Now let's go ahead and zoom in on her. If I hit play again, you'll see that she's walking pretty fast because all of this is happening in 5/60th of a second. I'm going to extend this by dragging this widget all the way to 1 full minute or 1 full second. And now when I hit play, she's walking in 1 full second. Okay, I think that's pretty good here. Let's go ahead and create another animation. We're going to do this by hitting the drop-down menu, create new clip. And we're going to name it, and I'm going to name it Female Walk South. And we're going to go ahead and drag the 5 frames that are walking toward us or south. I'm going to go ahead and drag it in. Then I'm going to go ahead and extend it to 1 minute. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And now we see her animation for walking south. Let's go ahead and do the last one. Let's go ahead and stop here. We're going to go ahead and create one for walking west. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at our sheet real quick. Our sheet, our hero is walking. Sorry, our sheet is walking to the right. I believe that the original sprite requires that the characters walk to the left. Let's actually double check this. If we go back to our scene and we go back to the character, the main character also has a sprite renderer and a animator override. So we're going to click this and see what his animation is. So inside his controller, you can see the animations that he has. And he has one called Walk West. And I'm actually going to double click on this and go here and see what it looks like. So you can see here that the sprite that we're going to override is walking to the left. So that means our character will also have to walk to the left. So I'm going to go back to our prefab here. Go back into our prefab. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to our prefab here. I believe we're in prefab mode. Okay. Let's go ahead and drag our controller into here. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and add walk, technically walking east. So let's go ahead and do female walk east. Let's go ahead and hit save. We're going to drag in our female sheet. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and drag it in. We're going to extend it to 1 full second. We're going to hit play and test it out. And again, the character is doing just fine, but we're going to go ahead and make her flip so that it matches with the scripts from the original game package. So we're going to go ahead and go to the frame 1 here. We're going to add properties. We're going to add a transform widget. And we're going to add a scale because we're going to scale her in the reverse. Okay. So you can see here that it added some frames. We can go ahead and fix these later, but let's just work on the 0th frame here. We're going to drag and drop down the scale, and we're going to scale in the X direction, -1. So that should flip her over. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to go ahead and move my head and kind of see what's going on here. You can see that she's slowly being turned inside out, and that's because over here they created these frames that we're going to go ahead and delete now. Okay, we're going to put it back on the track head, and I think that's it. We deleted the end frame, and she's just going to simply walk to the left. Okay, and let's go ahead and that's going to be our 3rd animation. So now let's go ahead and check all of our contents. We have 3 animations. We have a animator controller, and we have it inside a prefab here. And again, we're not going to really use this prefab. We kind of just use this prefab to create our animations. I'm going to go ahead and replace the character with our own. So let's go ahead and go back to our original scene. And I advise that before we replace the character with our own animations, I want to duplicate this one just to make sure that if we screw up anything, that we have a backup. And I'm just going to go ahead and disable the backup here. So the backup character is disabled. And I'm going to go back to our character. And now I'm going to actually replace our character with our own. So we're going to replace these two things here, the sprite and then the controller. So the sprite is just whatever he's doing when you first move him into the scene. Doesn't actually even affect the animation. But just to make us, more at ease of this our character, I'm just going to grab the walk front first sprite here and just drag it over thief so that we have our female character showing up. And now, more importantly, we're going to replace or duplicate this controller. So we're going to not just replace this thief override. We're going to double click on it. And we're going to take this right here, the thief override, and we're going to make our own. So I'm going to use Control D to create a duplicate of this. I'm going to immediately rename it so that we're not confused here. This is going to be female hero. Okay. And I want to grab this female hero animator, the animator controller here, and I'm going to drag it into our folder, my character sprites. So all my stuff is in here. So I'm going to go back here now. And now that I drag it in here, I'm going to go ahead and double click on it. And you can see all the animations. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag in a walk east, another walk east, a walk north, a walk south. And the one thing I'm missing is some type of idle one. So actually, it looks like I'm going to have to go here and create an idle one for our female hero here. So I'm going to go back to our female hero prefab. And I'm going to go ahead and click the create new clip here. And I'm just going to call it female idle. And now that I got that, I'm just going to go ahead and drag in one sprite from the walk here. And I'm just going to drag it. I'm going to hit play, and that's what she's going to look like. Now, maybe I can use a different one. Let's see if I can use one where her feet are together. Let's see if any of these look like that. Looks like all of her sprites, or one of her feet are always like that. So I'm just going to drag the first one in. Okay. Now, if you were really inclined, you could use the property and add a little bobbing animation to make her bob up and down. But for simplicity's sake, I'm not going to go ahead and do that. So now that we have a female idol, let's go ahead and go back to our female hero animator right here, the override controller. And we're going to go ahead and grab our female idol and drag it into both the idol and the talk. So now we have an animation for everything. That means our female hero animator overrider that we replaced the thief one with is complete. Let's go and go back to our main scene now. And again, the whole point of this was to take the thief override and replace it with our own. So I'm going to grab this and drag it on top. And now our character should have these 4 animations. I'm going to hit play. And let's check if our thing works. Yep, we have a character now that can walk left, can walk right. Let's actually see if the pivot's also correct. I'm standing in front of the tree. I'm standing behind the tree. So our pivot is also done correctly. And now we're able to put in our own character. That's it for this video, guys, and I'll see you guys next video.